Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. I wanted to just record a little intro to this week's video because it happens to fall at Christmas time. I just wanted to say thank you very much indeed for everybody who has tuned in to Mart's Garage during the year. We've had some interesting little projects and lots of ups and downs and things going wrong and fixing things and trying to make things better, innovating when possible. I have been thinking about my channel because my channel isn't like some of the car orientated channels. I can't compete with some of them. I was very interested to see Derek at Vice Grip Garage hit 1 million subscribers. Well done to Derek, that's fantastic. I can't imagine what that takes to do that. Here, in my little garage, I'm limited to my little project cars, my Ford V8s. So, as long as people are happy to watch me trying to maintain my fleet of Ford V8s, that's fine. I can't go buying cars left, right and centre all the time. Other people can, I can't. I'm maxed out at the number of cars. But as long as people are happy to watch me maintain, tinker with and have fun with my current cars, that's fantastic, it's great. I don't mind doing it. Well, I enjoy doing it, it's what I do anyway. This is what I'd be doing if I wasn't filming. I'd just be tinkering with the cars. So I hope everybody has a nice Christmas, a Merry Christmas with friends and family, to the best ability that you can do to your ability with the current situation. I hope everybody has a pleasant and prosperous new year and right into the year 2022. Let's hope that we start to come out of this current situation because it's not pleasant, and hopefully it will get better. So thank you very much for visiting my channel. Thanks for joining me in the garage and keeping me company. Thanks for supporting the channel. I don't ask for support, but you support by watching, putting the watch time up, putting the clicking the like button, leaving a comment, subscribing. All those things help to get the channel noticed, and obviously recommend to your friends if you if you want to. One last thing, thank you very much for everybody that supported my daughter in her charity, the London Marathon charity run that she did recently. Thank you very much for that. So onwards and upwards. I wish you all the very best for Christmas and the New Year. So let's see how that all pans out. Thanks a lot then. Bye. Hello, I'm working on the French Flatty. This is the one what I call the Spalding Flatty because it came from Spalding. I've just lifted the crank in and I did it vertically. I noticed on a Ford documentary that they lifted the cranks in with the engine block mounted vertically. I thought, okay, I'll give that a go. And actually I thought it worked quite well because you can kind of help it with your knee. You can kind of lift it and push with your knee. And the good thing is once you've got it located on the bearing down there, you actually have some flex here. So I was able to, I'll do this carefully, I was able to move it a little bit like that, rotate it gently until that's the 0 on that tooth there is able to locate there, and it won't fall out because it's kind of held quite tightly at the bottom. Obviously I wouldn't tip it up any further this way, but I thought that worked quite well. I've had a good session today without doing any filming. I tapped and plugged the end of the cam. This is where I've modified the cam. I've lapped all the valves and fitted all the valves. There's nothing there out of the ordinary, so I didn't record anything. I wanted to just push on with the job. The light's very poor, isn't it, in this corner? So basically, and I had all the lifters threaded on my bootlace, and I put them all back in the right order. All the valves are in the right place. All the valves are where they came from, and it's the same cam. So there should only be minimal adjustment of the valve lash, you know, in theory. So I've just put the crank in. I'd previously cleaned and polished it, and it's looking not too bad. But I just thought I would mention that option of putting the crank in vertically, because it does give you a little bit of opportunity to finesse it a little bit as it goes in. And of course the other thing to remember is that when this is down here, when that's down, the number one cylinder, this one, is at top dead center, so you can always kind of, can you see that this crank throw is more or less square, and that throw is towards that cylinder? So in your mind you can say, well, I'll just put that towards there and that'll get me in the ballpark, and then you can just look over and double check that it's right. Okay, I'll flip this up the other way now, and I'll see what I need to do to put the main caps on. Hopefully nothing. I haven't gone absolutely mad washing everything. For instance, the valves and springs have been left with the oily residue from when they were stripped down, plus I've squirted some more oil on them, and the lifters were just left with the oily residue from when it was stripped down. Interestingly, on this engine, rightly or wrongly, when it was rebuilt in France in 83 or 84, whenever it was, they used exhaust valve guides throughout, so there aren't any seals or valve stem seals, which you can get on the later ones, or indeed seals on the actual guide themselves. So it'll be interesting to see what that does for it. But I was thinking that, well, the old motors with the split guides don't have any seals either, and they, for me, they run okay. I've given just a gentle little relief on that sharp edge that was there, and while I was at it, I just gave all the valve seats the very lightest of a touch with a valve seat cutter. So they've all been very lightly just touched up. None of them were bad. I probably could have just left them all alone, but I gave them just the lightest touch and just the a very light lapping of the valve into the seat as well. So cross fingers, everything should be good on that score. Okay, thanks a lot. I'll catch you in a bit. Bye. Hello again. I've just done a round of valve setting. I didn't film it. It gets too long, the footage, and I end up speeding it up, and thought, well, if I'm going to speed it up, I might as well not show it. But I'll show you what I did. I found the point at where cylinder 6 is rocking. See cylinder 6 there? The exhaust is closing, inlet's opening, so that's rocking, and my spanner is there. So with the spanner there, I first of all, to make it simple for myself, I set the inlet, so I could just have two lots of feeler gauges selected. So I'd have the 10 and the 12 sticking out, so I'd go in, make sure the 10 goes in and make sure the 12 don't go in. Then I just go 90 degrees, so it's 1, 5, Then I did number 5, which is this one. 4. So then I did number 4, which is that one. You get the idea. 8. Then I did number 8. 6. I did number 6. 3. Did number 3. Where's number 3? Over there. 7. Did number 7. There. 2. Did number 2, which is that one there. And then I come back to number 1. And then I reset my feelers to one pair at 14 and one pair at 16. Then I did all the exhausts. One of the exhausts, that one over there, that one down there at the end, bottomed out on the thread. So I put it in the lathe and skimmed a little bit off the end of the bolt and then reset it. Okay. All the others came out okay, just about. For anybody not familiar, these French lifters are quite good because they stick out above the bosses. And you use a 13mm to hold the body and a 12mm to adjust the screw, but I use a 1/2 inch and a 12mm. Well, that'll do for this little session. I will bring you back when I start doing a bit more. I've come out and had another session in the garage. Haven't filmed it. I just wanted to crack on. Nothing out the ordinary. Nothing out the ordinary. I've put all 8 pistons in, rods, bearings, everything in. They're not torqued up. They're just tightened, you know, tightened, half tight. But the important thing is that I managed to, all the ones that hadn't got rings, I found rings for them. All the ones that, you know, I managed to find clips, put clips on them. One of the wrist pin bushes was tight, so I polished that in the lathe and then that came okay. The one odd piston seems to be okay, going up and down. And the other thing that seems good is that the pistons do come well up to the top of the bore. That's actually the 60 thou piston there, but the others do as well. I don't want to wind it over too much. I just wound it over a couple of times and you don't feel too bad. I'm aware that obviously it hasn't got an oil pump working. I'll just explain something to you that was quite helpful when I was putting it together. Can you see that the rods are numbered there? Look, 5, 5 and 1, 1 down there. You might not be able to see that. I think you can with the camera. Well, they're numbered on the pan rail that is for the cylinder. So, which is quite helpful because you know that the numbers are at the front. So when you're putting the piston on and you're trying to get the bit that says Avant there, Avant or forward, you know, front, you can align it to where the numbers are stamped. So I need to just look up the torque numbers, do all those up, do all these up. These have these little pal nuts, what they're called pal nuts. These are a little bit damaged. I've got some good ones though that can go on there. I haven't been able to find an oil pump from this engine, but I'm beginning to think that it didn't come with one. This is one that I bought off a friend of mine. I was thinking that it's better to have it assembled than have all the parts lying around. That's my view anyway. Assembled and oily is a good, you know, way for it to sit. Okay. I drove the truck today and I came to the decision that the engine that's in there can't stay in there. It's no good. It's a bit loose and rattly at the top end. The vibration is better, but it's just noisy and rattly. I've kind of got a video that I've got some footage that can make a video for that. But so this engine will go into the truck. So what I think I'm going to do is pull the motor out of the truck and then use parts from that motor to dress this engine, which might include the oil pump actually, because I haven't got a suitable pickup to go on there. So I might use the oil pump off the truck motor. Actually, I might not be able to do that because I need to go and check the footage. I'm not sure whether the oil pump in the truck motor has the pressure relief on it. I need an oil pump with a pressure relief on it. Yeah, I'll check the video. I might end up using this one here. Anyway, any road up. Okay, righto. Thanks for following along then. You take care and I'll catch you on the next one. Hello, here's my French flathead coming together. What have I done today? Okay, torqued up all the big ends, 85 pounds-feet. Torqued up all these, 45. Put the pal nuts on, just tightened them using my best judgment. So they're all done. I found my 2-bolt cover that I bought recently, and I found this front pulley, which I don't know quite how it came to be, but it hadn't got the seal part. So what I've just done is I've got 2 or 3 of these French pulleys. I just had it on the lathe and I've cut off that part there, and I have cut off that part, machined it, and there it is sitting there. So how people manage without a lathe, I just simply don't know. I've also put a new rope seal in there. I've got a jar with oil in it, and I've had these rope seals soaking in the oil. So I'm kind of training this to fit, if you know what I mean. Look, see how it's left an imprint. Okay, so this is the little collar which is cut from the French pulley. I think that's just, yeah, it's just clear of the key, but that doesn't matter. It'll still get clamped on tight, and it'll go around with the pulley. So that's my little bit of jobs that I've done today. Oh, other than I've cleaned up this flywheel. This is one of the flywheels that I did that re-drilling exercise. There's the 2 new bolt holes. That's on a 10-inch, on the PCD for a 10-inch clutch. There's the PCD for an 11-inch clutch. They're on 12 3/8. They're on 11 3/8 PCD. 32 degrees in between the two, each pair of bolts. Jolly good. With these flathead motors, once you've done all the valves and put all the rods and pistons in, you know, there's not actually much to the top end, is there? You just bolt the heads on and that's that. You bolt the inlet on and that's that. Okay, yes, it's beginning to take shape. Okay, righto. Thanks very much. I'll catch you on the next one then. Bye. Hello, I'm in the truck. I thought I was recording, so you've missed all my little pearls of wisdom that I've been sharing. I'm kind of doing an assessment on the engine vibration levels and charging as well there. So I've got a voltmeter there, which should be just on the screen. That's why the angle's pointed a bit low. And I've got my sat nav there, so I can see how fast I'm going. It appears that when I'm just driving around locally, I don't generate enough revs to get the engine charging. I've been tweaking this voltage regulator, which can be a bit of a disaster. So hopefully I haven't done anything silly. But I'll go round and I'll go down the motorway back to the house, which will be a faster route. See a positive charge now on the ammeter. Now I've got the speed up a little bit, and that's reading a little bit more on the voltmeter now. What I'm worried about is does it overcharge if I go a bit faster still? I suppose I could just drive in second, couldn't I, to simulate that? I won't know. Motorway, yeah, it looks alright. Can get a bit chock-a-block sometimes. Easy does it, sharp bend. kind of forming the opinion that I'm going to replace this engine. I've got an engine that I've been building. It's a French motor with a 4-inch crank. But basically I haven't got enough parts around me to put this other motor together, so I'm going to have to pull this motor and use the bits off this motor to kind of dress the other motor. I've got the basic block crank rods, but I haven't got enough parts to make a complete motor. But I don't feel, you know, if I had to go and pick an engine up or something from like 100 miles away, I wouldn't want to go in this truck. I wouldn't feel confident sitting on the motorway for that length of time. And I don't have to drive there at like, you know, 45 mile an hour. It's a lot better than it was. Oh, can you hear that? Nah, she's a bit rattly, isn't she? Now that's it. This motor's done. It's going to come out. On a positive note, the charging, although it doesn't seem over the top, at least it's not wildly over the top and, you know, banging out 16 volts or something like that. This is the old 59 Flatty, that one that was all seized up. I mean, I cracked the bore, I brazed the bore, it cracked while I was brazing it, I've slayed the whole thing, it has got new pistons in it, there's nothing actually wrong with the block, but all the bottom ends not up to scratch. So I'm going to retire this. It was an interesting little project just to get it running and driving, which I have done. It was an interesting project to lighten the flywheel. I didn't actually really show that. I took that great big heavy weight off the flywheel. It was an interesting learning curve to find that in doing that I completely upset the balance. I mean, it was wildly out of balance. So, and then it was an interesting learning curve to just have a go at balancing the flywheel. It was interesting to learn that that wasn't really good enough and I could have done it a lot better. Do you know what I mean? I'm learning all the time. Learning. And in reality, you only learn by making mistakes, don't you? I'm not saying it was a mistake to build this engine. But, you know, to take an engine that's desperate and not do anything to the bottom end, this engine needs a decent crank, some decent rods, all matched and balanced, and decent bearings, none of which it has. Okay, that'll do for this little road test. You take care and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye! Hello, look, I'm pulling the motor out of the truck again. I've been working on it for about an hour and a half, but I'm a bit worried that it's getting dark, you know, it's getting late autumn now. So I'm going to carry on because I want to get it out while it's still light. It's lifted off the mounts and it's come off the gearbox, so it's just a case of lifting it out. So I thought I'll just get the camera fired up. Well, she's out. This is the old 59 Flatty, but it didn't run very well. Got too many, just didn't run smooth, and it's a bit noisy in the bearings and that. You know, hardly surprising. It wasn't rebuilt, it was just got running. Okay, I've achieved my goal of getting the motor actually out of the truck. The weather's going to turn tomorrow and for the next couple of days, so I've got about 3 days to transfer the parts that I want from that engine into the new engine. My problem is getting this down to where I can work on it, so I think I'll probably just put it on a, you know, little trolley. Okay, righto, back in a bit then. Righto, bit of a struggle, but I wanted to get it out while it was light. Now that it's in the garage, I can, you know, work at a little bit more of a steady pace. The motor looks clean enough inside. It was all filled with fresh oil. It looks alright, considering it was all dirty old parts that were cleaned up. Looks quite good, in fact. I need the distributor, the oil pan, the oil pump. I can't use the water pumps because they need an oil feed. But you know, hey ho. The other thing I think I'm going to have to do is rig up a PCV system. Still, that's another job for another day, isn't it? I took the oil pan off and I took the oil pump out. I hope these parts will be okay. And I've just set it down on a French oil pan. It isn't actually fitted correctly, but I just wanted to take the weight off the engine crane, because that's a good sort of storage oil pan, because it's flat at the bottom. Jolly good then. I will carry on at some point in the future, and I'll let you know how it goes. Cheers then, bye. Hello, here's the old 59 Flatty, and I'm just taking everything off it that I might be able to use on another engine, because as you know, I'm not happy about this engine because of the noise it makes when I went out in the truck. I've just noticed something which might go part way to explaining why there's a noise. Can you see the marks on that piston there? See those marks? Look, there's like a ring there, and some heavier marks there. Look at the head. It would appear that that piston has been making contact with that head. I think that one's okay. I mean, this head is as rough as anything, and I skimmed this head purely to get the motor running, and you can see from how small the domes are that it was a very extensive skim. The reason it's an extensive skim is because these pistons don't come up to the top of the bores. This is the first time I've had the heads off, actually. When I rebalanced the flywheel, I was then prepared to rev the engine higher, and in revving the engine higher, it has exposed this problem, where at the higher revs the piston's hitting the head. Okay, so that's interesting. Now, whether it is going to change my course of action right now this minute is another matter. These are 45 thou over pistons. I mean, that one looks fine. That one looks fine, and that one looks fine. It might be that that rod hasn't been shortened by as much as these rods have. These rods were all you know, shortened and resized. So that's interesting, isn't it? Okay, righto. So I'm not quite 100% sure where that leaves me at the moment. That would certainly explain an increase in noise though, wouldn't it? Okay, that's interesting. Let's carry on. I'll pull the other side and see what that looks like. Serves me right for using sketchy parts, doesn't it? I was quite pleased at being able to skim those heads. Anyway, okay, looks like I've overdone it. I learn something every day. I learn something every day, and it looks like the lesson I've learned here is that skimming ahead like there's no tomorrow, you know, keep going and going and going isn't a good idea. Okay, righto. I wonder if I could rig up some sort of radius cutter. I think because it's such a broad, it would be such a broad cut, it would be very prone to chatter. But it might be worth having a go. I don't know. I'll have a think about it. Okay, right, back in a bit. Hello. I've been investigating the piston heights at top dead centre. And what I did, it's hard to show because I've got one hand. I put these two nuts on there using a bit of Vaseline to stick them to the deck. Put this ruler like that across, and you can see how I've just shined up the dead centre bit with a file. I then measured from the top of the ruler down to that centre point using my trusty calipers. And what I did this one first and set a zero, and then I've measured all the others, and I'll show you what they are relative to that one. Number 4 piston is our datum, that's 0. Number 1 is 1.3 millimeters lower. That means that rod is shorter by 1.3 millimeters than that rod. Number 2 was a millimeter shorter. That's 40 thou short on the length of the rod. Number 3 is actually higher than number 4 by 0.3 of a millimeter. Number 5 is lower by 0.2. Number 6 is lower by 0.15. Number 7 is slightly higher by 0.1. Number 8 is 0.5 lower. So you can see that there's a vast, I mean, if you say 1.3 to 0.3 high, that's 1.6 millimeters difference, isn't it, between that one and that one, the height at which they come to in the bore. I mean, I am now in a quandary now what to do with this motor, because, well, on the one hand, I've kind of found the smoking gun that piston was touching the head. In other words, that's where my noises are coming from. How can this engine ever run smoothly with such a difference in compression heights? It's ridiculous, isn't it? So I need to make a decision. Do I get a grinder and clear that head there, and maybe just give all of them a little lick where there's a big flat area there. Just give them a tiny little bit there. Or maybe I'll check it against the numbers and make a decision based on the numbers. You know, the ones that are the highest, just get the clearance in. Or do I, you know, just clean that one up? That's the problem one. I mean, you would think that if this one was higher than that one, this one would have touched, because this one is equally as kind of, you know, intrusive as that. I just don't know. I don't quite trust my numbers, I don't think. Yeah, all of these are a bit kind of getting up there, aren't they, on the encroachment of the, you know, the bit that hasn't cleaned up. Okay. Yeah, I just don't know. Okay, so I've got two choices to make. Do I kind of, what I was doing, I've took this just to backtrack in case this all becomes a bit disjointed. That engine there is a French Flatty, which I've built up semi-stock. That engine has a problem. I went through to the water jacket on one of the valve bowls. It has another problem as well. So I've built this motor using the pistons that came out of it, which aren't great. Look at that. I mean, it's been hammered on. And I want to get it running purely to tell me, is the block okay? Is the repair to the exhaust port okay? So because I haven't got all the 59A bits that I need to make it go in a car, and this engine was rattling when I ran it in the truck, I now know why, but I thought it was to do with the bearings. I've pulled this engine out of the truck because I didn't want to run it anymore, and the idea was to use this as a donor for all the, you know, the oil pan, the oil pump, all the parts I need to go on this motor. Now, knowing that the rattling is due to this piston kissing the head, does that change my plan? Do I now sort of go from plan A, which wasn't to build that engine, that was plan B, to build that engine? Do I now go to plan C and basically do a repair, put this engine back together and put this engine back in the truck and run it? And I haven't quite got the answer to that yet. I don't know the answer to those questions. Armed with the knowledge of knowing the rod lengths there, yeah, I just don't going to think it through. No, you don't want to stand there listening to me trying to think this through. Righto, I need to make some decisions. Maybe it's time to go and have a cup of tea and have a think. And maybe review my footage of when I drove the truck to see if it does sound like that. I think one of the factors is, the bottom line is, this engine will never be tip top with that complete difference in the rod lengths. But the truck doesn't need a high performance engine. It just needs something that will run reliably all day long. That was going to go into the truck just to test it to see if it's okay. I don't know. Okay, right. Too much rambling. Look at that, two flatties. American and French. Let's have a break then, and I'll have a think about what I'm going to do to proceed to move things along. But the truck's outside, parked outside with no engine in it, which isn't a great situation, is it? Okay, righto then. Catch you later. Bye.